Hi, my name is Brenda Titus. I'm a professional hypnotist in Orange County, California. For information about myself and my program, including in-person sessions, please go to my website, ochypnotherapy.com. Today's thoughts from the hypnosis office, we are going to go back to our topic of superheroes, and today questioning what happens when a superhero doesn't measure up. So as a little bit of background, I've been kind of noticing that there's a lot of superhero movies coming out this summer. So, or actually even this year. So back in February, there was a new Captain America movie. And then we had the Thunderbolts, which are kind of like, well, they might put the Avengers to the test in terms of, maybe now being a new version of the Avengers. And they're not necessarily superheroes. They're more like hired assassins who are well trained and strong. So kind of that fallen hero concept now turning into a hero for our modern world. We've got some Fantastic Four coming up and a new Superman as well. So for both franchises that I can think about, whether it's Marvel or DC, we've got a lot of superhero things coming up. And so I thought it was kind of fun. I did a series a couple of months ago back during Mother's Day around the lie of the modern Wonder Woman. And then I also did an episode on Be Your Own Superhero. And so if you haven't seen those, please go back and take a look at those. So today we are going to move forward in some of this idea of the superhero. And we're going to talk about what happens when a superhero doesn't measure up. And the reason that I wanted to talk about that is that, well, obviously, I see a lot of clients who question if they are good enough, or they have that fear that they are good enough. Actually, one of the root causes of a lot of our issues and fears, especially with public speaking, is, am I good enough? And so it was actually really beautiful when I watched the most recent Captain America movie, because that really did become an important theme that happened with Captain America. So I wanted to share just a little bit of the story of Captain America. So with Captain America, his storyline is that he was given a special serum that made him a super soldier. And that was how he got his superpowers. So he was a chemically altered soldier. And so that gave him longevity, it gave him strength. He started as this skinny, scrawny kid, and then he became this strong, hero who also lived for years and years. And so now we have this modern new version of Captain America and Sam Wilson. And Sam actually has a suit that is part of he's still strong, he's a powerful human, but he has a powerful suit that makes him the hero. And of course, I suppose his warrior heart. So he, in the movie, Captain America Brave New World, questions, well, am I as good as the former Captain America? Am I good enough? What if I don't measure up? And I really thought that was an important message to share with our modern viewers and to talk about, because it is such an incredibly common fear and anxiety producing concern for so many people, sometimes way deep down inside. Even for people who act like they are plenty good, they still have a little bit of that fear inside. So I really thought that was kind of a fun, interesting thing to talk about today, to talk about the superheroes, but to also recognize what a common fear or concern that is. So, of course, how do we remedy the fear of, am I good enough? Well, first we have to look at, well, who really is the judge? Now, for the deep-rooted concept of the fear of, am I good enough, it's usually based on, something where a child just felt like, whether they weren't, treated with love and care and concern, weren't given the support when they were young. And so somehow they develop this concern, do mom and dad love me? And do they do they find me good enough? Am I getting, the praise and all of those things? So it starts very young. Now as adults though, so I if that comes up in my sessions, then we can really evaluate and assess based on where that fear stepped in, and for each client it is different. And so I only give those couple of little simple ideas there. So of course, first looking at where that fear came from. Often it's an incorrect fear. It came in a situation where it wasn't necessary to have that fear, so we do some inner child work to resolve that fear. Now the other part though is that when we have the fear of am I good enough, we have to look as an adult around, are we doing the things necessary to be good enough? So sometimes there is a rational, logical fear that we need to address. Sometimes that happens for people who have a new job and they're struggling to learn. And so they'll maybe have that fear, maybe even the old fear pop up, am I good enough? And it can really stop them from learning the things to show that they are good enough. So we also want to be aware of, who is really judging the am I good enough? Is it friends, family, society, an employer? Now, of course, there's going to be different versions of whose opinion we really value and need to impress where it comes to, are we good enough? And so, but if it turns out, sometimes one of the ways that we can resolve that fear or concern of am I good enough would be to get extra training or to get extra education or to develop skills. And that is kind of the adult way that we can resolve the am I good enough. And of course, with Captain America, we had to just kind of look, in his situation, he is a different kind of hero than the former Steve Rogers. And that actually comes down to the final part that I want to remind you about, which is that just because one person has certain qualities or skills or capacity doesn't necessarily mean that they are the be all and end all. And so we have to remember to not judge ourselves based on somebody else's capacity, based on somebody else's looks, knowledge base, performance. We are all individuals. And so it is important to remember that you are enough. And maybe every once in a while you might need some extra training or extra support in leveling up, but of course knowing that you're worthy, you're good enough, you're capable, and to allow yourself to really embrace that, not hold that as a fear. And if there are concerns about the some specific capacity, then to actually, instead of being fearful and judgy and scared and let that inner child take over, to actually get the skills to help have improvement. So I hope that was a fun topic for you today, and I hope that you have a wonderful week knowing that you are enough, to not judge yourself based on other people's capacity, and I wish you a wonderful week.